How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So with about 5 minutes left in the stock market today, we're doing pretty well. The S&P 500 up over $17, up about 0.5%. The Dow Jones up $130, roughly 0.5% as well, with the Nasdaq up $110, doing the best out of the bunch, up 1.1% as big tech across the board, FANG and Microsoft, they're all doing well. And in this video, we're going to be talking more about the markets like we always do, breaking down some technicals, going over a couple of different scenarios that could end up playing out here over the next couple of weeks. And I want to go over Virgin Galactic stock in particular, as well as a bunch of other stocks that I'm actually watching right now and looking to trade as we're getting deeper into the month of June and into the month of July in 2020. So if you guys find value in the video, as always, hit that like button. Let's try to get 300 likes on this video, and check out all the free links down below in the description box if you want to be further connected with the Strive Smart community, and if you want 2 free stocks from Webull valued up to $1,400. And again, all of those are linked down below in the description box. So let's just kick off this video with the S&P 500, and it's very clear that the consolidation has continued, guys. Before we break down some nitty-gritty charts here, let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, and we can see clearly the S&P is uptrending, right? We've talked about this over the past couple of videos. We're holding the uptrend channel, no doubt about it, on this 4-hour chart. But going back to that 5-day, 5-minute, it is very clear again that the consolidation has continued, right? And what does that tell me? That's telling me that the markets, especially the S&P, is getting ready to pick a direction. Whether we end up blasting up, going above 3150, which would be very bullish, or whether we break below 3080 to about 3060, which could be a very bearish sign to the point where we might be going under 3000, as we can see here on the charts. If we break 3060, 3020, we could be going down to about 2950, which is another major support here on the S&P, right? And you guys can see the S&P is trading in a range between 3080. As you guys can see, we held that on the 16th yesterday, or actually not yesterday, on Friday and today, right? 3 separate times, with the resistance being at about 3150. We failed out of 3150 on the 16th and on Friday, and that is another point that I'm going to be watching again for the bulls over the next couple of days. So overall, at this point in time, guys, S&P is consolidating, right? Which is why overall I've been patient in the market, waiting to see again which direction do we end up picking. Do we break out, which would be bullish, or do we pick the bottom portion of this channel? Do we break that, which would be very bearish, right? So those are some key levels on the S&P: 3080, 3060, 3020, and on the upside 3140 and 3150. And once we break any of those levels, we're going to understand, at least in the short term, where the markets are going to be pushing, right? And when it comes to the Dow Jones, guys, up $160, up 0.6% right now, very similar to the S&P. We're pretty much consolidating, holding 25,800 as a support, with a clear resistance at around $26,400. Yeah, we did break it. We went to about 26.6 on the 16th of June, but we clearly failed to hold it. So I'm thinking a more solid resistance again is around 26,005 to about 26,400. So this is not rocket science, guys. The technicals here, they're not too difficult, and there goes the markets. We really just have to be patient and see what direction the Dow ends up picking, the S&P ends up picking, the Nasdaq ends up picking. Well, the Nasdaq, that's a completely different story. We'll go over that next. That one's not really consolidating. That one's really in just a breakout mode right now. But the Dow, another key level to keep an eye out for, if we're looking at micro levels here within the range between 26.4 and about 25.8. We're going to be looking at 26 right? 26,200. We failed there on Friday, on Thursday, and today. So I'm thinking, okay, if we break 26,200 on the Dow Jones in the short term, we might rally back up to 26,400 to 500 to the point where, okay, if we break that, that is where we might see the next level up in these markets, the next gap up overall in these markets, which you guys can see the next big resistance on the Dow. If we break 26,400, 500, is going to be around 27,000 or 26,000 rather, 400 is going to be around 27,000, right? That's if we break. So there is some upside here in the markets, of course, as the trend overall on the 4-hour chart is continuing, but we just have to see what happens in this consolidation range that we are currently in. And going to the Nasdaq, again, it's not really consolidating anymore due to the breakout today, and mind you, we almost hit all-time highs today. You guys can see on this 5-day, 5-minute, we were consolidating a bit up until Friday, right? We were consolidating from 99.60 to about 10,000 in roughly a 40 to 50 point window. But with today's massive rally off of those highs, or not the highs from Friday, but off of a major resistance from Friday, right? You can see we opened at 10K, which was a resistance on Friday, and the fact that we rallied so aggressively off of that, and we actually broke out of the resistance from Friday, and we closed above it, that is a very good bullish sign for the Nasdaq here. And at this point, guys, this leads me to believe that the Nasdaq is going to hit all-time highs either tomorrow or at some point this week, because we're literally about 20 to 25 points away from that. So that could happen tomorrow, the next day. All we need is a decent green day in the Nasdaq. We need tech stocks to do well just one more day, and we're probably going to be yet again at all-time highs. So let me know down below in the comments, guys, what are your thoughts? Those are some just brief thoughts that I have, some technical points that I'm watching here in the markets. Not much has changed overall from yesterday or from last week, quite honestly, and this is where the patience factor of being a trader, of being a market analyst, this is where it comes in, right? Because not every day are we going to be breaking resistances, seeing ridiculous swings in the market. Sometimes it's going to be like this, where the S&P and the Dow, it's pretty calm. And again, yeah, the Nasdaq is rallying like crazy, but overall, the markets have just been consolidating for the most part. And as the consolidation in the markets has continued, other than the Nasdaq, gold has been crushing it, guys. Gold up $13 today, $13 an ounce, up 0.75%. And do you guys recall what I said yesterday? I said, watch out for 1760. If 1760 breaks, there's a big possibility gold rallies to the 1770s and into the 1780s. And that's exactly what ended up happening today, guys. And this is as bullish as it gets, right? We broke the wedge a couple weeks ago. Now we broke 1760. So my target now on gold is going to be high 1780s, 1790s, as that is the high from a couple months ago, back in the middle of April. And I've been on record, and I'll say it again. If we break 1780, guys, I think 1800, mid 1800, heck, even $2,000 an ounce on gold, I think it's coming, especially in the time period we're in right now, where gold is a safe haven asset. The economy is where it's at. It's very rocky, right? And although asset prices, stock market prices are rising, many people believe the market's in a bubble, which again is another case to put money, is another reason for some people to put money into gold, which again could keep pushing up the price of gold. So let me know down below, what are your thoughts on gold, the markets in general, where we're headed over the next couple of days and weeks? And I'd love to know, again, what are your thoughts? So what did I personally do in the markets today, guys? It wasn't too crazy of a day for me. You guys recall on Friday, I ended up buying some Ulta stock, ticker symbol ULTA. I bought some, I believe, in the $215 range. And needless to say, those shares are not doing too great right now. I'm down about 3%, or rather, Ulta was down 3% today, down about $7, and I'm actually still holding onto those shares. And the reason why I am, and mind you, I'm down about 4 to 5% right now on those shares, the reason I'm holding them is because I'm only in with about 10-15% of my goal position. And I always try and talk about this on the channel when I'm swing trading, guys. That's the method I use. I don't go in all the way right off the bat with any stock, right? I always scale into it in case it drops like Ulta is dropping right now. And when it does drop, if it drops and I'm in with 10-15% of my position, I have the option. I'm like, okay, I can cut losses now, take a little loss on my 10-15% position, or I can end up adding more to the position, kind of double down, bring that average cost down, and that's if I believe in the swing position over the next couple of weeks. And I didn't double down quite yet, but I didn't cut losses either. I'm still in this. I'm still being patient holding this because ultimately I see potential in Ulta ripping back up, guys. Honestly, I think I can see it, especially if it holds 200. And I'll be honest, if it breaks 200, this is actually a pretty critical buy zone, in my opinion, for the stock, right? It was a resistance back in March, April. It was a support back in the middle of May. So if we break 200, I'll probably cut losses there. But if we end up holding 200, ripping up back to 210, 215, that is probably where I'll end up adding more into the position. So at this point, I'm giving it some wiggle room, and that's kind of how I do it with many of my swing trades, depending on what stock it is, right? And in this case, again, giving it some wiggle room and looking to buy more in the 210s, 215s, as long as it continues. Well, it's not really confirming the uptrend quite yet, but if it does end up confirming the breakout out of this mini downtrend that we're in, doing something like that on the 5-day, 5-minute, as indicated by that line I just drew, that's going to be quite bullish. And from there, again, we might add more money into it. And you guys recall, again, yesterday we were talking about gold, GDX, and GLD. Those are two ETFs that I play all the time when I'm looking to play a gold move, right? When I'm looking to make a move in gold. So I ended up buying a little bit of GDX today. Nothing too crazy. I saw the massive momentum the stock had, right? We rallied up to 35.30. We pulled down to about 34.30, trimming about $1 per share on the stock, right? And that actually led me to buying some of the stock, or the ETF rather, right? And this is a pretty critical point that we pulled down and we consolidated on for the majority of the day. And let me show you exactly where we ended up pulling down and consolidating at. So we can see clearly we broke the 4-hour wedge, which is a bullish move that I was looking for. You guys can see it here, right? And with the pre-market session and into the market open, again, where we saw that massive rally up to the mid-35s, we actually broke out of that pretty big resistance at around 34.75. So that's bullish. And the fact that we pulled down and again we held 34.50, 34.75 as a support all day, that led me to believe, okay, this is a good entry point for GLD. And does that mean it's a good entry point for you? No, right? You do your own research as always. Do not buy stocks based on my opinion, ETFs based on my opinion. But I'm just letting you guys know what I personally did. And yeah, I bought into some GDX on this dip right around $34.50. And I'm actually looking to swing trade this ETF. And I look at it kind of as a hedge because, again, gold is a hedge play. Gold miner stocks are very, very strong when it comes down to an increasing price in gold. And again, GLD is another ETF here, although I did not buy this one. This is another great one that you can trade based on the price of gold. If you don't own physical gold and you want to have some exposure to the price of gold, GLD is a great ETF for just that. And again, GDX is a miners ETF. It's different from GLD. Do your own research as always, guys. Please go to Google, type these ETFs in, look at the prospectus, and this is how you'll learn a lot more about them. So overall, that is all I ended up doing today. Let me know down below in the comments what are types of moves that you guys are making as of right now. I would love to know. And now let's get into Virgin Galactic, which is also a stock that I'm long on. I have a long-term position in them, and as a spec position, I actually have a swing trade that I've been holding for I don't even know how long at this point, probably close to a couple weeks, and I'm also in options, guys. I'm also in options. So needless to say, I'm in multiple different positions here in Virgin Galactic. And today was a very good day. Up 16% on the stock. Up $2.40. And why did this happen? You guys can see we actually went all the way up to $18.60, which is absolutely incredible due to the fact that we actually closed at only $15 on Friday. So the stock almost went up $4 in the span of one trading day. And that's the type of stock Virgin Galactic is. I've mentioned this before. It is a high-flying stock, especially when news comes out. And oh boy, did we get some good news today. Virgin Galactic signed a deal with NASA to develop a recruitment and training program for private astronauts seeking to visit the International Space Station. And this is actually where the crew from SpaceX is currently at right now for about 100 days. They embarked on that journey about 2 to 3, 4 weeks ago or something like that. And now Virgin Galactic is looking to do similar orbital trips to the ISS, which is insane, right? And they'll be finding companies or organizations with an interest in sending people to the space station. So they're they're not doing the trips themselves. They're more facilitating the trips, right? And they're going to be doing this and then finding the right transportation to actually get them up there, these different organizations, right? And Virgin Galactic will also be responsible for coordinating the necessary resources, both in space and on the ground, to make these trips successful. And once they coordinate the trips, NASA has to approve of it, has to run through the plan, and then they're good to go, right? And this new program feeds into a larger goal for NASA in general of opening up the ISS, the International Space Station, to more commercial pursuits. For decades, the ISS has mainly been a place for government and academic research, but the space agency announced last year that it would allow companies across the ISS access to the ISS for commercial purposes, such as filming ads or movies, and even allow them these companies to send their own private astronauts to the station. So this is some pretty good news for Virgin Galactic, guys, and it's kind of like the next step that we want to see this company make. They're making more deals, more agreements with NASA, which is obviously very good, especially for a company like this that is in need to do more research, R&D, develop their programs. And this could bring more customers potentially to Virgin Galactic over the next couple of years. And although Virgin Galactic right now, guys, it's not making money really. On their balance sheet last quarter, I think they made like $150,000 from engineering services or something like that. So they're not making money, but the future is still promising, in my opinion, for this company. You guys know that they're a human space flight company, right? They're looking to give passengers, regular civilians that can pay $250,000 for a ticket. So I guess you have to be kind of a rich civilian to do this, right? But they're looking to give people access to space. They're looking to go suborbital, feel that sense of weightlessness while you're in space, and then you come back down. That's kind of the experience that they're looking to provide. And another massive opportunity here for Virgin Galactic, which is why I see a lot of potential for the company if we're looking 5-10 years out, is the supersonic travel. That is absolutely incredible, to the point where you can go from New York to England in an hour and a half. You can go from Cali to Asia in 3 hours or whatever, right? This is another piece of their business that could come into fruition over the next 5-10 years that could completely revolutionize the travel industry, which could be a game changer whatsoever, a massive game changer for this company to the point where it could be a several $100 billion company. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and say, oh my God, Virgin Galactic's going to be $1 trillion company. But all I'm saying is I think it's worth, again, this is me giving my opinion, I think it's worth doing research into this and potentially putting money into it. Not saying to put money into it. This is not financial advice, but I think this is a pretty solid opportunity if you're looking to invest in the future of our country and the future of where things can be going, right? If you're a forward thinker, you could definitely get behind this company and really understand where they're going and be like, okay, there is an opportunity there, but now we just have to wait and see, are they going to execute? How is this deal with NASA going to play out? When are they going to send Richard Branson up to space? When are they going to start rolling out all of these flights for pedestrians paying $250,000 for a ticket? Once that starts to kick in, and let's say they start to prove that they can make money, Wall Street sees this, that could be when a lot of money starts coming into Virgin Galactic. But at that point, guys, not that it's too late, but honestly, once that point comes, that's when you already want to be in the stock, right? Because if you're in it now, let's say as it's a $3 billion market cap, and then 5 years down the road, all of these technological advances, they come into fruition. We have supersonic speed in 10 years from now, travel, right? And the stock goes up to $100 billion market cap. Obviously, you're going to want to be in it before Wall Street backs it. And yeah, again, you can still get in it when it does eventually succeed, if it does succeed, but it's not going to have as much reward as it does now. But another thing to mention is there's a lot more risk now. So me buying the shares now, I, in theory, deserve the reward, the massive reward I'd get if it went to $100 billion market cap. Not as much as if, let's say, I got in when it already wasn't a $100 billion market cap. I wouldn't deserve it as much there because I'm not taking as much of a risk due to the business. At that point, it would be more developed. It would have more of a proven model to make money. They're actually making money. So if I'm buying it now, guys, let's just say I'm taking a bigger risk, much bigger risk. And honestly, this is a spec play. I don't feel too crazy putting some money into this and just forgetting about it and holding it long term and just seeing what it does. And when we're taking a look at the technicals here, we're very clearly holding 15. Now with today's very bullish action, breaking above about $16, $15.50, $17 even. This is a very good bullish sign, but ultimately we need to break $18.80 to about $19 before we completely see the stock take off, in my opinion, right? And from there, $19 up to about 2021. We break that. I believe this stock could, no doubt about it. So what are your thoughts on Virgin Galactic, guys? Am I crazy for buying into this one? Is my vision off? I'd love to know what you guys have to think down below in the comment section. Now, let's bang through a bunch of other stocks here that I'm actually watching. And oh boy, we finally got a pull down in NEO stock. And we still ended up closing green, up 9 cents, up 1%. And did you guys actually see it earlier in the day? This thing actually was up about 8% earlier in the day. Unbelievable. It actually cracked over $8 a share, up to $8.05. Unbelievable. Just on Friday. On Thursday, as you guys thought, as I thought, the rally was over. I was locking profits on my position. We rallied up even more. This is unbelievable. And quite honestly, we're at a higher low at this point on the hourly chart. You guys can see it. We're holding the 50 SMA quite nicely. We're holding 730, 740 quite nicely as a support. So this could very well be, yet again, another dip buy in NEO stock. So I'm going to be watching it. If we get honestly, 7:30, 7:40, we consolidate, start showing some bullish momentum in the morning, back into the 760s. This could be a nice little day trade tomorrow on the momentum that we've been seeing. Another stock here that I'm watching, guys, haven't talked about this one in a while or ever at this point. Honestly, I don't even think I've ever talked about it, is Foot Locker, ticker symbol FL. And this is more of a swing trade opportunity, in my opinion. I'm not looking to invest in this one long term. I'm not really into retail. I don't like investing in retail, like Foot Locker. So many, right? Nordstrom, the list goes on, right? Home is another one, HOME. I don't like investing in companies like this. Not that I don't believe in them, but I just like putting money in areas that I understand. Not that I don't understand retail, but in areas that I think will prosper more than retail over the next 5 to 10 years. But again, that doesn't discourage me from trading Foot Locker. And quite honestly, you guys can see the two trend lines I just drew here on the 4-hour chart. We're holding the uptrend, we're making higher lows, but we're also potentially here, if we don't break $30, right, resistance, we might be making a head and shoulders, which could actually end up opening a short opportunity, especially if we break below this uptrend and the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart. So there's two scenarios here. What I just said, right, if we see that little dump, that could be a short play. But if we actually break $30 tomorrow, and today we were up 5%, up $1.40. So if this momentum continues into tomorrow and we get out of 30.31, that could be a breakout, right? That's a breakout, not a head and shoulders. That would be actually a bullish move to the point where, yeah, we might fill the gap back up to $35, right? That'd be the target price at that point. And another target price, if we break $35, would be around $37. So overall, I see Foot Locker as one that does have potential, but it also has some downside risk. Again, with these cases spiking up, CV spiking up, again, we're seeing Apple closing stores. If other places like Foot Locker in these reopened areas across the country, if they start closing the malls again, if they start closing the stores again, you better believe that Foot Locker is going to take a massive haircut. So there's risk here, but there's also potential reward. So I'm watching it at those key levels that we just talked about. So DKNG also did well today. Well, didn't close too well, but it was up earlier in the day to about $43. And with today's action down about 9%, down $3.75, I'm actually looking at this weakness as a potential opportunity, right? We had a $40 million share filing, I believe, on Thursday or Friday, so that could be devaluing the shares here a bit, but overall, we're seeing analysts actually raising their ratings on the stock. Some analysts are putting a buy rating on the stock, price target of 55. So we'll see how this ends up fiddling out over the next couple of days. But for me, I'm looking at it if it holds 39. And clearly it actually broke 39 in the session today, so that's not too good when it comes to holding it as a support. But either way, if we end up getting making our way back above 39, 39.50, that could be a move that we need to see to get back up to $43. And you guys can see every time we've broken 39 over the past couple of trading sessions, we've rallied up to $42. It's a little horizontal channel of its own. So I'm watching $40 to $43 here on DKNG. That is DraftKings. For those of you guys that don't know, they actually recently IPO'd. And speaking of another company that just IPO'd, or they're looking to IPO, that they did not just IPO, is Airbnb. And this is a company that was eyeing up a 2020 IPO before this crisis, and now with the crisis, they're actually still looking to potentially IPO. The CEO today said, we're not ruling it out this year, but we're definitely not committing to a timeline right now either. we're still a little early in this crisis for me to feel clear enough about how this is going to play out. That's words directly from Chesky, which is the CEO of the private company Airbnb. And quite honestly, guys, with the travel industry being disrupted right now, obviously with everything going on, this will be an interesting IPO if it ever does IPO. Well, it probably will IPO at some point, but if it IPOs in 2020, it's going to be interesting times for them because obviously as the CV is spreading, it's still around. People aren't traveling as much. People aren't going and staying in Airbnbs as much. So are you going to invest in Airbnb? Are you not going to invest in Airbnb? Your thoughts on Airbnb? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys have to think. So a couple of other ones here before we end off the video. SQ hit an all-time high today, guys. Square up 6%, hit $105. Am I looking to buy it now? No, but I'm looking to see if it ends up pulling down, holding $100, which is the old all-time high from about 2 years ago. So watch and see if it does end up pulling down about $5 to hold that level as a new support. That is very possible. And Nike is another one that I'm watching here, up about 4% today, up almost $4, closing about 50 cents shy from $100. And you guys know, especially if you watched yesterday's video, they're actually reporting earnings on Thursday. So this is going to be a very interesting one to watch. Overall, the downtrend, although we did again see a 4% day today, the downtrend is still intact. So watch out for this bullish pop tomorrow. And honestly, although I don't like holding stocks through earnings when I'm trading them, I still think I can grab a move in Nike before the earnings report. And again, that's what I'm looking for, right? If we break $100, we can easily fill up to 105. That's a 5% move. That's if we get this bullish sign on the hourly chart. And you'll see if we get that sign on the hourly chart, on the 4-hour chart, that's going to be a breakout as well. So I'm watching Nike there, ticker symbol NKE. And two more here, Boeing and Target, guys. BA is Boeing, up only 1% today, up $1.50. And quite honestly, the technicals are not looking too attractive. But one thing that is looking decently attractive is the fact that we're holding $180 old resistance, right, from back in April as a new support. That's a good sign here. And over the past couple of weeks, quite honestly, 180 has been a rock solid support. So again, although the technicals aren't looking too hot, we are downtrending, lower lows, or rather lower highs, not lower lows yet, because again, we're holding 180. You know, we're in this wedge here, so I'd like to see a break out of 190 and into the 200s. And at that point, yeah, Boeing could be a play, you know, from about 200 maybe up to 240, right? And this is one of those companies that's not going under. They're literally going to get bailed out from the Fed. They already did. They're going to have a lot of money flooded into them. And President Trump said Boeing is not going under. So if the stock goes down, it's a pretty, not saying it's wise to buy it, but it could be a decent idea to consider Boeing, because you know that they have the backing of the Fed. And when the Fed's pushing money into a particular stock, buying bonds, whatever, corporate bonds, flooding money into the market, that is good for different stocks, guys. That is good for equities in general. And the last one here, again, is Target, which up about 1.5% today, up $2. We're getting closer and closer to that resistance breaking where I want to see it break, and I'm looking to actually get in after it breaks. And I'm looking at about $123. That is my price target here on Target, and we can see, no pun intended there, price target on Target. We can see after 123, last time we did break it, we rallied all the way up to about $128 to about $130. So that's kind of what I'm looking for over this week when it comes to Target. And ultimately, guys, I see it making this move. We can see it's holding a higher low on the 180 SMA. We've been consolidating for about 2-3 weeks here. So, yeah, the second it pops there, I can see a lot of momentum coming in, and that's where, again, I am buying the stock. So, overall, that is it for this video, guys. If you found value in it, as always, hit that like button for me. Consider subscribing to the channel. Check out all the free links down below in the description box if you want to join the Discord chat, the Facebook group, and if you want 2 free stocks, if you guys literally want free money from Webull, check out the link down below in the description as well. You get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,400 if you deposit $100 into the account, and I also get a kickback from that. I also get 2 free stocks, and that's actually a way to support the channel for all the free content that I'm putting up here, and I really do appreciate you guys if you do end up using that link to support me. So I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks again for watching, guys. Stay safe out there. Peace out. How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here. So with about 5 minutes left in the stock market today,